Well, the Tundra's engine problems are back once again. Is it actually a machining process error that's causing these problems, or was this twin turbocharged engine flawed right from the get-go? Or perhaps it's an industry-wide problem with a lot of manufacturers running lightweight oils, engines with tight tolerances in order to reduce internal friction to meet the EPA's emission requirements. We're going to talk all about it today. Welcome back, I'm Alex, and we're in the shop again today because I want to talk about the Toyota Tundra's newer 3.4-liter twin turbocharged I-Force engine, because it has seemingly come back in the spotlight for engine failures. We got the old Ford with us today, and I was hoping to hold off on this video until I actually had a Toyota Tundra in the shop with us, but unfortunately the Toyota truck that I had slotted for this video is now sitting at the dealership, or waiting to go to the dealership to have an engine replacement. Shocking, I know. And nobody knows how long it's gonna be. So unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, we get this 30-year-old Ford with its original motor that has not been replaced yet to keep us company today. Now, I actually did have a Toyota TRD Pro with the I-Force Max, the hybrid engine, on the channel earlier this summer that Toyota so graciously lent me, and the real-world performance on that truck was actually impressive. It towed extremely well. When it comes to pulling power, torque generation, this thing is phenomenal. I can't say enough good things about how well it's been pulling this trailer, and it was actually a really fun truck to drive. Ah, there she goes. She revs out now. But after the expansion of Toyota's original engine recall, adding another 125,000 engines to it, showing that actually the engine problems are not solved, I probably wouldn't touch one of those engines with like a 10-foot pole, if I'm gonna be honest. Is that harsh? Maybe. But for anyone who does not know, this story started last year. The third-gen Tundra trucks and their 3.4-liter I-Force engines were experiencing engine failures and main bearing problems pretty much since their debut in 2022. And on May 30th, 2024, Toyota released a pretty large engine recall, which included over 100,000 engines that were going to be replaced because of main bearing problems, with build dates from November 21 to February 13th, 2023. And it seemed like Toyota had identified the problem, fixed the problem, and we could move on with our lives. People were very excited because Toyota was fixing this the right way. And I remember at the time, one of my first thoughts was, well, what about the hybrid engines, the 3.4-liter I-Force Max engines like the one I drove this summer in that TRD Pro? Those hybrid powertrains use the identical 3.4-liter twin turbocharged engine in those trucks. So if Toyota's coming out saying there's a problem with that engine, the hybrid powertrains should also have the identical problem. We later came to find out the reason why the hybrid engines were not included in that original engine recall was because if the gasoline engine failed, there's still an electric motor that can move the truck off the road, and therefore it was not a safety concern. And Toyota pretty much said tough luck to the hybrid powertrain owners. So to me, it was never about Toyota trying to make it right and doing it the right way. It was that they're being forced to replace these engines for safety reasons, and not that they necessarily truly cared about the customer or standing behind their product. Now, after that recall last year, we did keep hearing rumblings of engines that were built after February 2023 with the updated machining process still having engine problems, engine failures, bottom end problems, just like the engines that were recalled were having previously. And I gotta give credit where credit is due. The YouTube channel, The Car Guy Online, he has followed this story in incredible depth. In fact, he actually suggested that Toyota would expand this original engine recall before they officially did. Fast forward to November 6th of last month, and wouldn't you know, Toyota expanded the I-Force engine recall, adding another 127,000 engines to the list, claiming once again that machining debris was left in the engine, causing main bearing failures. Toyota once again leaving the hybrid engines off of this engine recall list, which at this point, in my humble opinion, is like borderline fraudulent, but it is what it is. Just goes to show that Toyota is no different than any other manufacturer. And hey, they want to make money. I get it. I got no problem with that. But don't come at me saying that Toyota is better, that they care more about their customers, that they stand behind their products better than other manufacturers. Because in this case, that's bullshit. They full well know that the hybrid engines have the same likelihood of engine failure as the non-hybrid trucks, yet because it's not a safety issue, they don't need to replace those engines. They can save a little bit of money. To me, that does not sound like a manufacturer that stands behind their product. What's also incredibly fascinating is the original manufacturing dates for the first engine recall were November 2021 to February 13th, 2023. Now that has been expanded to November 2021 to February 14th, 2024. Exactly 1 year of engine production has been added to the recall expansion, and a lot of people have been speculating, and I tend to agree with it, that there is maybe a bigger problem with these engines than just machining debris, and Toyota is slowly recalling these engines 1 year at a time, potentially waiting till all new inventory is sold before recalling those engines. Because new vehicles with safety recalls cannot be sold. So if Toyota originally said that the recall included production dates from November 21 to February of 2024, it would have included a lot of those new 2024 trucks that were sitting on the lot, and therefore they couldn't have been sold until their engines had been replaced, and that probably would have caused a lot of problems for Toyota. So maybe, just maybe, Toyota kicked the engines produced from February of 2023 to February of 2024 down the road a little bit, sold them, and now they are in the process of recalling those engines. Who knows? And that begs the question, what is going on with these engines? Now, I've seen two teardowns of these 3.4 liter twin turbos, both on the I Do Car YouTube channel as well as the Car Care Nut YouTube channel. And both gentlemen more or less came to the same conclusion that there could be something else going on other than just machining debris. And I'll let you guys watch those videos for yourself. I'll put them down in the description. Very, very good videos. We know that in 2024, this engine had its main bearings changed or upgraded, and Toyota even admits that in this recent engine recall expansion. So clearly, Toyota is aware that there is something going on with this rotating assembly and needed to change the main bearings out for an upgraded design. But we are now seeing 2025 trucks also experiencing bottom end failures in these Tundras, as well as engines that have been replaced in the recall also failing for a second time. So there's something not right here. For me personally, the first recall on these engines, it is what it is. Sometimes things aren't perfect, which is why I always recommend not to buy the first couple of years of a new engine as manufacturers work out the kinks. But with this recall expansion, that is a tough look, and I'll probably burn the relationship that I have with Toyota saying this, but I would not touch this engine. I think we're still gonna have more engine failures to come. Now, I do think that the issues that the Tundra is experiencing with these new issues is in part a part of a larger problem that we're seeing with the automotive industry as a whole moving forward here, because I don't want to just seem like I'm just hounding Toyota, because GM has had some problems this year and I have certainly been very critical of them. And if it was any other manufacturer having this same sort of engine problems, I would be just as critical with them as well. But these manufacturers are trying to squeeze every single drop of fuel out of these modern engines, and one way of doing that is by reducing the internal friction of the engine, primarily by reducing the viscosity of the oil, using lightweight oils. The manufacturers are doing this to meet EPA regulations, simple as that. So maybe we can cut them just a little bit of slack. They are in between a rock and a hard place because they are trying to supply customers with powerful engines that they want to make them happy, as well as the same engines to have reduced emissions to keep the EPA happy. So all in all, it adds to these modern engines having very, very tight tolerances for airs. The Car Guy Online YouTube channel actually just posted a fantastic video last week, and I think he hit the nail on the head. When a manufacturer runs lighter weight oils in order to maintain proper oil pressure, proper hydrodynamic oil properties, we need to have tighter bearing clearances. If we have too much bearing clearance running lighter weight oil, we're just not going to get the oil properties that we want. So because manufacturers are running lightweight oils with tight tolerances, the ability for these engines to absorb some debris in the oil, potentially some machining imperfections, or just general wear is greatly reduced. And we see this exactly with the 6.2 liter V8 in the GM 1500 trucks. The 6.2 liter V8 in those GM trucks runs 0W20 weight oil, somewhat lightweight stuff. And GM originally said that there was some potential of machining debris being left in the engine, which is what was causing those engine failures, but also mentioned that there was most likely improper machining surfacing on the crankshaft, which could also contribute to those bottom end failures that we were seeing on those 6.2 liter V8 engines. And it goes to show that those engines running lighter weight oil with tighter tolerances cannot afford to have microscopic machining debris left in the engine, or having surface finishes on the crankshaft, for example, not be perfect, because it leads to failures. The tolerances on these modern engines are much, much tighter, and the room for error is far less. Whereas something like this old 7.3 POWERSTROKE, which is running 15W40 weight oil with some probably larger tolerances in this engine, if the crankshaft was not perfectly machined, or maybe there was some microscopic debris left in this engine when it was built 30 years ago, this old girl, she'll just eat that up and keep on running, because the room for air on this engine is far greater than what we are seeing with the modern engines. And that could be why engines like this last a very long time, because they can just absorb wear like nothing else. These modern forced induction, small displacement turbocharged engines have much greater cylinder pressures, much greater cylinder temperatures, as well as much greater loads put on to the engine bearings with much tighter tolerances, running much lighter weight oil. It is a very thin line to walk, and if you are off ever so slightly, it can spell disaster. I think that's exactly what we're seeing with the Tundra engines, as well as what we saw with the 6.2 liter V8 in the GM trucks. But it is interesting on engines like Ford's EcoBoost engines, the 2.7 as well as the 3.5 liter are running more conventional weight oil, 5W30, as well as GM's 2.7 liter Turbo Max, again running 5W30 conventional weight, thicker weight oil, and those engines are not experiencing bottom end failures. Is there a coincidence there? I think when there are high loads going to be put onto a bottom end of an engine, having thicker weight oil is never a bad thing, and certainly can serve more protection. To wrap this video up, I do think there is a little bit of an industry-wide problem that we will be facing moving forward, certainly, but it is still disappointing from Toyota, especially given the fact that they had such a reliable, durable 5.7 liter V8 in the older trucks, and they just threw that thing right in the garbage, replacing with a extremely questionable twin turbocharged V6 engine. And for me, it's a no. I wouldn't even consider it at this point in time. And when I do my 2026 top half-ton engine rankings in the new year, this engine will be at the bottom, once again, like it was last year, for the exact same reasons. So probably not a shock to anyone. But if you did like the video, don't forget to leave that thumbs up. And if you like cool stuff like this, do not forget to subscribe. We'd love to have you guys on board. Enough of me. We'll see you on the next freaking video.